بسم الآب والابن والروح القدس. I wanted to make this short video just to give an idea what Christians believe about Christ. If you turn to Revelation 1:17, you'll find that Christ declared himself to be the first and the last. These are titles of God. If one turns to Isaiah 44:6, one will find that it's God who is the first and the last. Therefore, Christ was making a clear allusion to his own divinity. But of course, Christ was also a man, something that's made clear throughout the scriptures. And you find this sort of tension between his two natures. For example, in Daniel 7, verse 13, there's reference made to a divine figure who is like a son of man, who has a likeness of a human being. And yet, in the very next verse, in Daniel 7:14, it's stated that this man, or one who is like a man, is worshipped by men from all nations. And indeed, Christ was, as it says in Philippians 2:7, made in the likeness of men. Or, as it says in 1 Timothy 3:16, he was made manifest in the flesh. We find the same thing in John 1:14, where it says that the Logos, who is Christ, was made flesh. And yet, while Philippians 2:7 says that he was made in the likeness of men, the verse right before it states that he had a nature of God. He had the form of God. He had a divine nature. Likewise, before John 1:14, you have John 1:1, which states that the Logos was divine. So, this person who bears the titles of God was made manifest. He was apparent. He was in some sense visible. And yet at the same time, having this divine nature, there was an aspect of him that was not visible, not available to our senses, not available to the senses even of men who saw him during his earthly ministry. Colossians 1:15 calls him the icon of the invisible God, which is to say that he's a representation or an image of that which isn't visible. More to the point, Colossians 1:16 states that he created all things. Likewise, 1 Corinthians 8:6 alludes to how he plays a role in creation with the Father. And this is in the creation of all things. That means that even during his earthly ministry, when men saw a normal man, one made in the likeness of men walking around Israel, at that same point in time, things that were being created then were being created by Christ. So again, though he was made manifest, and there was an aspect of him which was apparent to us, at the same time, there was another aspect, his divine nature, which was hidden from us. Then, we can also note in John 21:17, the testimony of the Apostle Peter, who said that Christ knows all things. I know some wish to dispute this, but this is the testimony of Peter, and it's the testimony of every Christian, that Christ knows all things. So to put all these points together, for us, Christ is the first and the last. He is the one who is made manifest and is the one who remains hidden, and he knows all things. These points parallel a statement that's actually found in the Qur'an, in Sūrat al-Hadīd, the 57th chapter of the Qur'an, the 3rd verse. So, if Muslims want to understand what Christians believe about Christ, they can read Sūrat al-Hadīd 57:3.
هو الأول والآخر والظاهر والباطن وهو بكل شيء عليم.